The most common advice I hear is to niche down. Only focus on one thing, niche down, it'll make you more money, they say. That means only buying a specific type of car, whether it's focusing on a brand like Toyota, or only selling trucks, or buying cars with bad transmissions. And I'm telling you right now that if you followed this advice, you're gonna miss out on thousands of dollars of profit. My name's Lucky7, and I've been flipping cars full time for over 6 years. And early on, I made the mistake of listening to this advice. So in this video, I'm going to break down why niching down is the worst advice ever, and what you should actually focus on instead to make the most money. Let's get into it. I didn't have much experience fixing cars, but I loved sports cars. So I decided that would be my niche. And not just any sports cars, only the ones I liked. I scrolled Facebook Marketplace for hundreds of hours looking at all sorts of sport cars just for fun, and thought that's what I should go with to make money flipping. But when I started to buy them, I quickly ran into several problems. First, sport cars are usually beat up by teenagers like I was. That would lead to me having to fix tons of expensive parts, replace modifications they did with OEM stuff, and just redoing everything they did. And by the time it was all done, months would pass. Second, when I went to look for another car, there weren't many for sale because I was looking for something so specific. It would take weeks of searching several times a day to find a car I could flip. And when I did find one, it wasn't even really a deal. Third, since they were cars I liked, I'd fall in love with them. I'd make them perfect and do modifications or maintenance that cost a lot of money, and I never got any of that money back when I sold the car, because people just aren't willing to pay extra for stuff like that. After I'd finally sold a few, I realized I put so much time into these cars and barely made any money. I didn't know if I was doing something wrong or if this was just how flipping cars was for everyone. If I knew what I knew today, I would have never gone down that path. Niching down works in a lot of businesses, but car flipping isn't like the rest. It seems like becoming an expert in one car, knowing exactly what it's worth, knowing what problems to look for, and how to fix them, would allow you to fix cars quicker and for more money. And technically, yes, that's correct. But here's what actually happens when you try it out. You spend so many days scrolling through listings looking for your ideal car. Days turn into weeks, and meanwhile, there's amazing deals all over that are popping up, but you're just ignoring them because they're not in your niche. Then finally, after 3 or 4 weeks, you find one. You buy it, fix it up, and sell it. And yeah, maybe you made $500 more per car because you know it so well. But do the math. One car a month at, let's say, $2,000 profit. That's $2,000 a month. If you just bought any car that was a deal, there's more for sale, and you can easily do 4 or 5 cars in that month. Even at $1,000 profit each, that's $4,000 or $5,000 a month. And that's being safe. I usually make over $2,000 profit on every car I flip. It's not about profit per car, it's about total profit at the end of the month or even the year. I'd much rather have a broad search for cars so I can find a deal any day I want one. Technically, focusing on one type of problem will make you more per car, but you're going to end up with tons of problems like I did. And the extra money you make is only a few $100s. It's better to just flip like 3 or 4 cars for a couple $1,000s profit each than to flip one car for a little more money. All it is a numbers game. Once you learn the process of flipping a car, you kind of hit a limit of how much profit per car you can make. So the only way to make more is by finding more deals or flipping them faster. The first step of that is by looking more often at more listings, which means if you niche down, you don't have that many options to look through, and there's less deals. I worked with a guy who was convinced flipping Honda Civics was the move. He said they're reliable, parts are cheap, and everyone wants them. He wasn't wrong about any of that, but he was so focused on Civics that he'd pass on incredible deals right in front of him. Think about it this way. Let's say there's 100 cars listed for sale in your area on any given day. If you're looking at only Toyotas, you've just cut that down to maybe 10 cars. And if you're looking for Camrys specifically, now you're down to like 3. And out of those 3 cars, likely none of them are actually a deal. But if you were looking at like 60 out of the 100 cars, you'd be able to find 10 potential deals. And you're missing all those deals if you were just scrolling past them only to buy Camrys. The lesson here is simple. Your job as a flipper is to find good deals. Not good Toyotas, not good trucks. Good deals no matter the car. And obviously don't buy a car with a problem that you can't fix. So if you shouldn't niche down on a specific car type, what should you focus on? Here's what I look for in every flip, and it's made me way more money than any niche ever could. First, cheap cars under $5,000. A while back, I bought a Range Rover for like $16,000. I put only $400 into it and listed it for sale. In a month of constantly reposting, it sold for $18,500. It sounds decent, a $2,000 profit. But the problem is the entire month, Most of my money was tied up in that car, and I couldn't flip anything else. And every day I was stressed out, wondering if it would sell. When it finally did sell, I was originally happy because I had $2,000 more in my pocket. But after doing the math, I figured out it only ended up being $66 a day profit. If I would have just bought a $2,000 car instead, I could have resold it in a few days and made $4,000, then another and another, easily flipping like 3 or 4 cars that month without having to risk a whole bunch of money for no reason. And with cheap cars, more people are buying them since that's when the majority of people can afford, and that causes them to sell faster as well. The cool thing is, you can make the same profit as an expensive one. A lot of car dealers I talk to, they always tell me that expensive cars aren't usually worth the headache, and I totally agree. Second, clean titles only. I know flippers who buy salvage cars thinking they're getting a steal, and sometimes the price looks amazing on paper. Even I used to always buy salvage cars as my personal cars, since I could get a nice car for the price of an ugly car. But then I'd run into all sorts of problems since it was previously in an accident. Almost every time I'd end up spending way more money than I planned to get it fixed, and I could have just bought a clean title one. I mean, it was salvaged for a reason. And when I went to sell my salvage cars, nobody wanted them, and everyone said it was because it was crashed. And the people who did want them would expect a massive discount, way below what it was worth. Basically, when flipping crash cars, you end up making the same profit, or less, with way more work and stress. Just stick to clean titles, and there's plenty of deals out there that don't come with the headache. And instead of trusting the seller, make sure it's a clean title and hasn't been in an accident or has problems you don't know about. You could just get a Carfax and they'll tell you all the history and records on the car. Normally you have to buy one, but if you click the link in the description, I'll send you one for free. Third, under 200,000 miles. This one is hard for me to follow sometimes because high mileage cars are such good deals. Like, I always see cars above 200,000 miles, but they're for sale for like $1,000 and sometimes even less. But here's the reality. Cars over 200,000 miles scare away most buyers because they assume major repairs are coming, and honestly, they're usually right. Even if you fix everything and the car runs perfectly, you can't change the odometer back, and that's the number that affects the value more than anything else. The sweet spot for flipping cars, what I noticed, is around 100,000 to 160,000 miles. These cars have some problems you can fix to increase the car's value, but not like so many that makes it not worth fixing or just overwhelms you. And that makes it so buyers don't just run away from them because of the high mileage. Most people are totally fine buying a 150,000 mile car, but it gets close to 200 and they start to get nervous. Fourth, no specific brands. Don't limit yourself to Hondas or Toyotas or whatever you think is the best. Yeah, some cars are better than others, but if the car is nice, you'll be able to sell it. A good deal is a good deal regardless of the brand. I've made money on Fords, I've made money on Nissans, Chevys, Kias, Hyundais, you name it. The brand doesn't matter nearly as much as the deal itself. What does matter is if it's priced under what it's worth. And can it be fixed cheap and quick? Will it sell fast once it's ready? If the answer to those questions are yes, buy it. Now, I'm not saying you should never buy a car outside of these rules. If something comes along that's an insane deal, like a salvage car for $500 that just needs an easy fix, it could be worth making an exception, but it shouldn't be every car you end up flipping. Only on occasion when it's actually worth it. The goal with flipping isn't to take big risks hoping for a home run. It's to consistently make solid profit on a car, and then the next car, and the next. That's what turns flipping into a real business instead of a gamble of whether you're gonna make thousands or lose thousands. When you stay broad and flexible, you can pick the best deals no matter what they are. But if you niche down, you're forced to take whatever shows up inside of your little bubble, and then you end up buying it. It's not even that great of a deal. And if you wait for a good deal, you're gonna end up without any cars. And yes, you can niche down and still make a lot of money, and you'll hear tons of people saying how they only flip crash cars or auction cars. Well, I'm telling you to flip clean cars and only buy them from places like Facebook Marketplace. People have different ways of making money, but my way is definitely easier and the way I made my money, so that's what I'm teaching you since I know it works. Here's what I wish someone told me when I started. Stop trying to be clever. Stop trying to find the perfect niche or the best car. Just find good deals that make you some money. Buy them, fix them, sell them, and repeat. The flippers making the most money aren't experts on one specific car. They're experts at recognizing value. They know what a good deal looks like regardless of the model, and they buy fast once they find one. That's the skill worth learning, not memorizing every fact about a 2008 Camry. Focus on your total profit, not profit per car. Focus on consistent deals, not maximizing every dollar. Stay flexible, stay broad, and the deals are gonna come to you. Now, we've talked about why niching down is actually costing you money and what to focus on instead. But there's a lot more I learned in my years of flipping cars, so check out this video where I share the secrets of car flipping and how they're gonna help you make more money. And as always, I'm wishing you a lucky day.